Hello, and welcome to Spiritually Speaking. My name is Lori Albert, and I am a medium and intuitive. Spiritually Speaking is a feel-good, interactive, intuitive conversation that embraces all things spiritual. Each week, we discuss different spiritual or life topics. I have guests on occasionally, and I take calls on the spirit line for viewers to be part of the conversation, or if you'd like to receive a reading. So, welcome to the show. And, well, so much happening this week. Welcome to the day before Valentine's Day. I hope everybody has fun tomorrow. You know, I mean, it's just, you know what I love? I just love that it's a happy day, you know, for the most part, I guess, you know, unless you're depressed. You know, my wish for you all is that you have a beautiful love in your life and appreciate that love. So that's my wish for you guys on Valentine's Day. You know, I just need to just say, my love, my husband, is so amazing. He puts up with all of my spirit stuff. I mean, you guys wouldn't even believe some of the stuff that happens in my house on a daily basis almost. Aside from the people coming in and out, we've got spirit stuff going on pretty much all the time, and it's pretty amazing. So my love is very, very patient, and for the most part, patient, and you know, he's great. You know, and I gotta be honest, you know, he's one of those types of guys that if I asked him, and if I said, oh, I really, really want a Lamborghini, he would try to figure out a way to at least get me one for a day. Do you know what I'm saying? He's like one of those types of guys. If I wanted a huge diamond ring, he would figure out a way to make that happen somehow, you know, kind of thing. You know, luckily I'm not into all that stuff, so you know, he lucked out there. But you know, he's just a really great guy, and I'm really fortunate and so happy. Happy Valentine's Day, honey, is what I meant to say. So, you know, I wanted to, because I was curious, and you know, I've probably talked about this before on other shows that I've done, but you know, I was curious about the legend of Valentine's Day, and I almost said St. Patrick's Day. Let's live in the future. Yeah, it's very interesting because the legend of Valentine's Day is actually really interesting. One legend, because there's a whole bunch apparently, but one of the legends says that Saint Valentine was, well, he wasn't a saint then, but he was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome. Okay, when Emperor Claudius II decided that single men made better soldiers than those with wives or families. There's a thing. So guess what? He decreed that no one could get married. He just made this decree that like no one could get married, and anyone who defied Claudius it was you know, put to death or whatever, right? Isn't that amazing? Now, I'm sure that story has morphed over the years, but at any rate, so Valentine decided that that was just not acceptable, right? And so he went around and secretly performed marriages. So how awesome is that? I thought that was sweet. Now, there are other ones where people were put to death and all this other stuff, and so, but you know what? I like that one the best, so I figured I'd just say that one. So yeah, kind of neat, right? That was kind of a happy, beautiful little story, right? Because that's what we were about on this show, right? Happy and fun. So at any rate, if you're sad on this Valentine's Day, I don't want you to be sad, and I'll tell you why. Because from my perspective as a medium, we have so many people on the other side that love us unconditionally, right? And they love us unconditionally from the other side. So guess what? You're always going to have a Valentine, right? For many, many years, my father used to send me Valentines. He would send me a card and just like a little something for Valentine's Day. And you know what? And I feel like his presence, he's crossed over, but I feel like his presence on Valentine's Day, you know, because I know that he just cared, you know? I know he loved me unconditionally, right? That was the one thing about my father that was amazing, the unconditional love. My parents both, they loved me no matter what, and I tell you what, that's pretty amazing, right? In this day and age, how should I say that, right? You know what I'm saying, but yeah, so at any rate, yeah, so I like to look at it that way. I really dislike the sort of the commercial aspect of Valentine's Day because, you know, I mean, it's nice to get somebody flowers, it's nice to get somebody chocolate, but you know what? After a long period of time, I mean, it's like, it's just a little bit much with all of the stuff that guys need to do these days for their girlfriends or their loved ones, or they just get in trouble. I mean, it's like ridiculous. So at any rate, happy Valentine's Day to you all, and I wish you all fun tomorrow. And if you're alone on Valentine's Day, go get yourself a pizza, right? I love that. Last weekend was National Pizza Day. I think it was Saturday. And so I said no pizza because I'm trying to watch my weight. So I said no pizza. So my poor husband didn't get pizza on National Pizza Day. How that's possible? And he still loves me. Go figure. So at any rate, love is in the air, right? So I wanted to read to you guys this week. So I'm not going to do a meditation this week, just so you know, because I have a ton of stuff to talk about. I have been getting in the last couple of weeks, and I haven't done silly spirit stories in a while. So I wanted to do at the end of the show, I'm going to do a couple silly spirit stories because that was one of my most popular, I guess, little segments on the radio show I used to do. So I'm gonna bring that back, and I'm gonna do that for you tonight. So we'll see how that goes. But I want to read to you guys tonight the astrological forecast, your horoscope for this week, our collective horoscope. It's really pretty fascinating. So let me just get right to it. Let me get the glasses out. You know, some days are worse than others. Some days I really need the glasses, and some days I don't. Who knows? Anyway, okay, so this is, okay, from February 12th through the 18th, okay? So, last August, we all witnessed a major eclipse in Leo. Solar eclipses in Leo are often connected to the fall of prominent people from high places, and subsequently, we saw the ruin of many careers in sports, the arts, and entertainment. Wow. All areas of life ruled by Leo. This week, we will experience another eclipse, but this time, it will be in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and the planet of, Uranus is the planet of revolution and change. Woohoo! An overthrow of the government is out of the question, but the advent of changes whose time has come is more than likely. So changes that you thought were just around the corner now might be the time, okay? Aquarius is the sign of the people, by the people, and for the people. But who are the people that this eclipse in Aquarius is talking about? The answer to that question remains to be seen, but will definitely materialize over the next 3 months. So that's kind of cool. Very interesting. You know, there's so much that's been happening like in the world and stuff lately, you know, with, like he was saying, the fall of prominent people. Boy, hasn't that happened recently. But, you know, I thought that was really interesting. So I want to tell you guys, too, there will be a partial solar eclipse on February 15th. It won't be visible to people in the United States. But if you're in South America, I think it's the southern hemisphere. I don't know how much of the southern hemisphere, but it's a partial solar eclipse, so that will be going on. But here's the thing, because you know how I am about meditation, right? So during the eclipses, it's like I've decided, well, I don't know, a while ago, I decided that during eclipses, I'm going to meditate. So if you want to meditate so you can feel and take in that energy, because it really is amazing energy, okay? So it will start at 10:55 a.m. Los Angeles time on Thursday, okay? So 10:55 a.m. on Thursday, and it ends at 2:47 p.m. Los Angeles time. So obviously you don't have to meditate that entire time. However, if you're interested in kind of experiencing that energy, because I have to tell you, every time there is an eclipse, I've got like energy coming out the wazoo. I've got all kinds of energy stuff happening. And I am just really sensitive. I think as, not even necessarily as a medium, but as somebody who's really into spiritual stuff and really into meditation, yeah, you know, you really kind of, you to really kind of go with, I mean, you really feel it more, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, so it's a new moon as well. So there you go. It's going to be a big old time, right? So it's in Aquarius, and okay, so this is what I also found out this week about this eclipse. This eclipse in Aquarius and the new moon is asking us, this is what they said, it's asking us to welcome change. So whenever, you know, you've got things coming up, you've got different things happening that you're morphing and that sort of thing. Like, I have some exciting plans for this show, and so I think that within the next, because they're saying within the next 3 months, so the next 3 months I'm going to be doing all kinds of fun things. So I can't wait for you guys to like go on this ride with me. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So okay, so I have a fun eclipse fact. I did not know this. Doesn't really matter, but I just thought it was interesting. Solar eclipses are always either 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after a lunar eclipse. So I thought that was interesting, because obviously we had that lunar eclipse a couple weeks ago. Isn't that interesting though? Because like, and I don't understand, I'm not really versed in the, I'm not incredibly versed in the whole eclipse and where the stars are and how all that works and stuff. But I find it interesting because it's got to do obviously with the flight path, the flight path of the Earth, and you know where the sun and the moon are. So I thought that was just really interesting. So it's a little fun fact, right? So I have some news. This week, last Saturday, I went to the Self-Realization Fellowship Center in Los Angeles, and that's where the Yogananda set up he created this whole like area where it's just beautiful and it's peaceful. There's a lake, or you know, there's like a lake area there. There's flowers and there's gardens, and there's some of Gandhi's ashes are there, which I thought was so amazingly cool. So there's some of Gandhi's ashes are there. I don't know if the Yogananda is there. I do know that he passed in Los Angeles, but at his other center over there. So if you're not sure who the Yogananda is, you should look it up. It's kind of it actually, I should do a whole show on the Yogananda. He's like amazing, and he was a lover of all religions. In the center where he's got like a couple different meditation chapels, and he has pictures of like Jesus up there. He's got a picture of Gandhi. He's got like all these like really big spiritual people, and I just thought that was really fascinating. So anyway, so I signed up for his his meditation lessons, or his lessons that he created back in the probably the 30s and 40s, 1930s, 1940s. So I thought that was really fascinating, and I can't wait. When I went there, I'm really got present to his energy and who he was, and I just felt like that he was like right there with me. It was really, really cool, really cool. So if you're not familiar with him, you should Google him or whatever. But you know what? I will do a whole show on him sometime, because he's, like I said, he's amazing. So anyway, so that being said, and I neglected to say, the Spirit line is open if you'd like to call. For if you want to talk about the Yogananda, if you have a story about Yogananda, or if you want to talk about anything that we're talking about, any good news stories that you have, that'd be great. If you'd like a reading, my number is, for the Spirit line, is 818-835-5885, and feel free to call. This week, I have some updates, and I am super duper excited to tell you these stories. Okay, so first of all, a couple of months ago, if you remember the fires that were up in California, or actually in Southern California, in Ventura County, near Santa Barbara. Okay, so there was a lot of fires up there, and there were a couple of things that happened. Okay, so there were really, really bad fires in Mendocino, and that's just south of Santa Barbara. Okay, so there was a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then like a month ago, we had those horrible mudslides, right? So there was a whole bunch of stuff going on, like earth-wise, I guess you could say, up there, right? So I don't know if you saw it, but there was, the fires were everywhere. They were on both sides of the freeway. They were just everywhere, right? So if you were driving down a road, you could quite possibly, there could be a fire right there. As a matter of fact, that happened to me. I was driving and there was a fire right there. So it was all over the place. So at any rate, I digress. So this guy sees a rabbit. He's driving down the road or whatever he's doing, and he sees this rabbit. And somebody took a video of this guy, and this guy was freaking out about this rabbit. I mean, you see him jumping up and down, and he has his head in his hands like, oh my God, I got to save this rabbit. He was trying so hard to figure out a way to save this rabbit. That was a huge deal, right? And so it became this viral video, because how amazingly cool is it to watch somebody be so caring about a rabbit in the fires, you know, because it wasn't just things that people lost in this fire. Animals lost their lives, right? So yeah, some homes were burned, homes were, neighborhoods were devastated, but animals lost their lives too, right? So that was a thing. So at any rate, I have an update on the rabbit. Is that not one of the coolest things? So okay. Pull out the glasses again. But, oh, check this out. Okay, so the rabbit apparently was initially brought to a local animal hospital and was then transferred to the California Wildlife Center so that it could be taken care of, right? The rabbit had suffered serious burns to her, I guess they somehow determined it was a her, to her ears and toes, the poor little thing. Minor burns to her lips and singed fur all over her body. Oh my God, how sad is that, right? So she was given pain relief and a quiet place to recover from the shock, because of course animals don't, I mean, they're just like living their lives, and then all of a sudden there's a fire. So yeah, that's kind of scary, right? So at first, apparently she was not very active, but then there were concerns that she might have internal injuries from the fire, as well as, the burns and stuff all over her body. But 2 days later, she began to perk up and eat. How cool is that, right? The burn areas on her feet began to scab over, which is a sign of healing, and so anyway, there's this doctor, Dr. Dwayne Tom, surgically removed the dead tissue from her ears. The overall shape of her ears did not change. So cool. So her hearing was not impacted either. How they test that, I don't know, but I just think this is so freaking cool, right? So at any rate, the rabbit continued to recover and was transferred to a larger enclosure at the house of the home care volunteer for rehabilitation. Her appetite and activity level continued to increase. Oh, her wounds healed well enough, and she was given a clean bill of health for release. So on January 17th, she was released in Ventura. Well, she couldn't be returned to her exact location because of the fires. The fires devastated everything. She was released to a nearby area and that they were sure had plenty of food, water, and shelter. And after a moment's hesitation, the rabbit leapt out of the cage and quickly made her way into the cover of the bushes. Yay! I just thought that was cool. Who knew that we would ever learn? I mean, sometimes you see viral videos about anything and you wonder what happened at the end. I thought that was so incredibly cool. I was so excited. So at any rate, so that's the story on that. Okay, so then I wanted to tell you guys this story, and this leads into my topic for the day, which is compassion, finding true happiness out of compassion, living a life of compassion for others. So it's a great topic, and it's so apropos, and it's just, yeah, I know so many people that are just not having a great time right now in their lives, and so it's a great topic. So at any rate, I do have a call that I'm going to take. Hi there, you're live on the air with Lori. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, it's Tina.
Tina! Hi, regular callers. How are you today?
All right, and you?
I'm doing great, thank you. What's going on over there? How's the weather over where you are?
Well, it's still cold, but like no snow, so that's good. All the snow's melting. So,
Oh, that's good.
you know,
Yay. Yay,
yeah.
that's great. My mother and my sister and her family, they live in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and my mom is getting tired of not being able to go out. so she's like anxious for the warm weather to start up again, you know. So I said,
oh
coming
my God,
soon.
me too.
So, but you know, I heard Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, he saw his shadow. So, oh well.
Yeah.
So, what can I do for you today?
I was just seeing if I could get a reading, like whatever you were seeing or whatever.
Okay, cool. All right, let's see. Let's see what's going on today. Let me see here.
Okay.
Well, your grandfather's here. However, I feel like I just love your grandfather's energy. And you know what? It's because you call periodically. I feel like I know him. I feel like I feel like he's a friend of mine or something. You know, it's like, come on in, let's have some coffee or something. You know. So yeah, because all spirits have their own different type of energy, and so sometimes, you know, sometimes when I have clients that come in over and over, I get to know their energy, so I get to know. But at any rate, but I feel like that he's got somebody he wants to bring through today, like somebody else.
Okay.
Okay. He kind of jumped in, but I feel like that he's bringing through a lady, and it's an older lady. But for some reason, I don't feel like it's his wife. I'm not getting that is his wife still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does he have a sister that's with him in spirit?
No, but
okay.
No.
All right, let me try to figure out who this lady is, because he's bringing through this lady. You know what? It might be his mother. I don't know if you would ever have met her. Would you ever have met his mother? It'd be your great-grandmother.
Yeah, maybe if I was a baby.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me just see what she. Oh, would you know what she looked like at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Don't
I've
tell
seen
me.
Pictures of her.
Okay. So you've seen pictures. Okay. I feel like that this lady, she's showing herself to me to be a little bit younger. She's still showing. She's kind of older, but I don't think that she's showing herself to me to be as old as she was when she crossed. I feel like she was pretty old when she crossed.
Okay.
She's showing me like medium brown hair, and it's pulled back, but she's got it done nicely. It's done nicely, and I feel like it might have been long, but she had it up. Like, you know how I have mine up? Like, I feel like that it's up, like she kept it up a lot. But I feel like that when she let it down, it might have been long. So I don't know if you would know that about your great-grandmother or not. But yeah, that's a hard one, right? That's kind of a hard one. Okay, so let me see what she has to say and why she's coming through. Because if he's bringing her through, because he's a strong personality, then there must be something specific that she wants to say.
Okay.
She's telling me, I feel like that this feels like it's mother energy to your grandfather. So I feel pretty certain that this is your great-grandmother, just so you know. Maybe if you could check it out, and then you email me or something and let me know. Okay.
Okay.
So let me see what she wants to say. I feel like she's got some strong words here.
Okay.
She's talking to, you know what? She's talking to me about Valentine's Day. Are you married, or do you have a boyfriend?
Married.
Okay. She's talking to me about your husband, and she's telling me about giving him some slack.
Okay.
She's talking to me about you giving him some slack. I feel like that he's been working really hard lately. Do you know that? Is that? Okay. He's been working really hard lately, and she's asking me to have you give him a little bit of slack, because he's working really hard and he's pretty stressed. So I'll just give that to you. She's so funny. She's like, and I don't know if you know this about her at all, so you can find out and let me know, but I feel like she was very like, now you need to, and she's pointing her finger, now you need to do this, and you need to give him some slack because he's a hard worker and he's a good man. That's what she's saying. And I feel like that she was small. I feel like that her stature, do you know if she was a smaller woman?
I think she was short.
Okay, yeah. And okay, so your grandfather then is standing sort of behind her. And I'm getting this sense of like, okay, so I brought her through because we just need to appease her, right? And so he's standing sort of behind her with his arms crossed, just laughing, right? So he's got this, like, he's like laughing about her. He's like, now, because she's like giving you a lecture, like, now you just give him some slack, right? Kind of thing. So he's standing back there just laughing. Let me see what else, because I feel like he wants to say something too. Let me give him a little bit of time here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not, let me see, let me just see where we're going with this, but there's some sort of game. I don't know, he's highlighting a game, and I don't know, do you play games?
No, I mean, like, I like to go to the casino.
Oh, okay. Do you own a Ouija board?
No.
You don't?
I just recently was playing the Wii Nintendo I brought out.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Because I was seeing like a Ouija board, but maybe it's a Wii. I don't know. But no, it doesn't feel like it's the Wii, just so you know. It feels more like it's like a board game kind of thing. And the reason why I said Ouija board is because that was the first thing that came up. Because a Ouija board is actually considered a game. But, you know, I can't stand the Ouija board thing. There's something about the energy on Ouija boards I just don't vibe with, you know. But at any rate,
yeah.
So, yeah, you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so at any rate, there's something about games. Let me see why we're talking about this. Is there some sort of game that you play with your husband occasionally? Do you guys go to a casino together?
We do sometimes, yeah.
Maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe because I feel like that there's some, not worry, okay, because worry is a really strong word, but just to get him out and to get him kind of relaxed, maybe take him to a casino. I think that might be what they're saying. So I don't know why they showed me a board game, but the more I'm talking about your husband having some, like a night out with you, like just a night out, like just the two of you, like relaxing and going to like a casino or something, that feels more right. But I don't know why they came and showed me they came and showed me the Ouija board, or a game, you know, I don't know what that was about. So I'll give you that. And I feel like I feel like that, let me just tell you this, that it will be a time of sort of reconnection for the two of you. Okay. Okay. So that's what it feels like. It feels like kind of a reconnection. Not that you're apart or anything, but I feel like it's like a reconnection, just to spend some time together. I don't feel like you've spent a lot of time together recently. That's what your grandfather's telling me. So
okay. Yeah.
So yeah. So that's what they had to say today.
Okay.
Well, I hope you have a very happy Valentine's Day. Do you have plans for tomorrow?
No, I mean, not yet. Just working. If we do anything, it's usually we figure it out last minute.
Yeah. Well, maybe tomorrow night would be the casino night, right?
Yeah, maybe. That would be cool.
That's great. That's awesome. So, well, Tina, thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a good night.
Bye, Lori.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Aw, so cute. I love that. I love when they're, I just love when the spirits just come in and they just give us our advice and then they go. You know, you never know. You never know. And what's interesting is that when I have repeat clients that come in, what'll happen is that they'll just come in, shoot their message off, and tell me what they need to say, and then they'll just kind of move on. So that's the way it goes sometimes. That's great, though. I love that. I love that. So, okay, so I want to tell you guys the story about, like I was saying before, starting off the story about this man. Okay, so it was reported on the news on one of the local stations here in Los Angeles that there was this man who, there was a reporter, one of the reporters with the news crew was with this older gentleman when he went back to his house after the fires. And his house and the entire block was gone. Everything was gone. And this man was so, and you know, there's a part of me that's like, oh my God, these news reporters just make me crazy. Like, this is one of the most critical moments of this guy's life, and here you are intruding kind of thing. However, there's good news to this, right? You know, sometimes these reporters are like, they do good things, but at any rate, he was kind of a wreck. Like, well, obviously he was a wreck. I mean, who wouldn't be? They lost their house. He had lost everything in this fire. He had to leave at literally a few seconds notice, right? He didn't have his wallet, so he didn't have his ID. He didn't have any paperwork at all. So he had no ID for anybody to so he could prove that he was himself. He had nothing, absolutely nothing. The clothes on his back is what he had, right? So he lost everything. So they did this story on this man, and apparently the reporter had gotten a whole bunch of like tweets and messages on social media saying, we want to help this guy, we want to help this guy. And a lot of people saw that, okay? So they were trying to, you know, do something nice for him. This guy was 25 years old, I believe, 25, 26 years old, okay? He decided he needed to make it his mission to find this man, okay? So he got in his car, I don't know where he was from exactly, but he got in his car and he went to all the shelters that he could go to. He knew the man's name, which I don't know right now, but he knew the man's name, and he went to all these shelters and everywhere he could figure out to go, okay, to find this man. And he spent a lot of time doing it, and I guess he documented it as well, because I saw some videos of him, you know, saying, okay, I'm in this shelter and I can't find him or whatever. So at any rate, he finally he sent a letter to the man's old address, like where the house had been, and the post office somehow got his mail to him, this man. So this man finds this letter, and somehow, you know, they hook up, which is so amazing. And they are like inseparable now. They are like, they call each other their guardian angels. This 25-year-old man is helping this man get his life back. He's taken it, and he lived alone. His wife had passed, so he just literally was alone. So this man is, you know, he's helping him get his life back. They had him over for, the 25-year-old man had the older man over for Christmas and the holidays, and they've become really, really close. And you know what? And that's what I wanted to talk about today. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about, because here's the deal. You know, when we have compassion for something, when we take on compassion as a goal in our lives, it can help people, but it can also make you feel good, right? Okay, so the Dalai Lama but he wrote this article, and he does a lot of, he writes a lot. And it's a huge article, but I wanted to read the part that I found to be really inspirational. The whole thing was inspirational, but I had to sort of edit it down, obviously. And this is on his website, so I pulled it off of there. And these are his thoughts. These are the Dalai Lama's thoughts on happiness, okay? And this is what he writes. I believe that the purpose of life is to be happy. From the moment of birth, every human being wants happiness and does not want suffering. That's quite obvious, right? Neither social conditioning, nor education, nor ideology affect us. From the very core of our being, we simply desire contentment. I don't know whether the universe with its countless galaxies, stars, and planets has a deeper meaning or not, but at the very least, it is clear that we humans who live on this earth face the task of making a happy life for ourselves. Therefore, it is important to discover what will bring about the greatest degree of happiness. From my own limited experience, I have found that the greatest degree of inner tranquility comes from the development of love and compassion. The more we care for the happiness of others, the greater our own sense of well-being becomes. Cultivating a close, warm-hearted feeling for others automatically puts the mind at ease. This helps remove whatever fears or insecurities we may have and gives us the strength to cope with any obstacles we encounter. It is the ultimate source of success in life. Now, that's really amazing, right? Compassion for others can help us in our own quest to be happy, right? It's so easy to say to ourselves, if only I had a spouse, then I'd be happy. Or if only I had that particular job, then I'd be happy. If only I had that car, I would be happy, right? But the reality is, let's just say you get that job or that spouse or that car. Would you really be truly happy? Think that through. I mean, would you really, really be happy on the core of your being if you had that car, that Lamborghini? I don't know why I said Lamborghini because I don't even like Lamborghinis, but you know what I mean. So what drives us to think that outside things can create true happiness? What drives that? Fear drives that, right? Fear of death, fear of life, right? What fear is it that makes us say to ourselves, if only I had that job or that car, I could be happy, right? So only you can answer that for yourself, you know? For me, it was I literally had a fear of being forgotten. As long as I was sort of not forgotten, I was happy, right? But the second, and it always is there, right? It's always going to be there. It's that conversation that is played throughout your life over and over and over again, right? That conversation that will always there. The trick is how to get out of that conversation and not listen to yourself when that conversation arises, right? So, yeah. So, bottom line is compassion. Compassion for others. And this is what the Dalai Lama says. There are many, many ways to find that true, in the core of your being, happiness, right? However, the way that he's talking about is love and compassion for others. You know, and before you say, oh, you know, I'm too shy, I could never do anything like, you know, like I could never outwardly really do something like of great worth for anybody, or, you know, do I really have to do that? You know, you're shy. And, you know, a lot of people are shy. But the reality is that's your fear talking, right? What if you just let it go? What if you let that fear go and stepped into the courage, the courageousness of it all, right? What if you just stepped into that, okay? So come on, we've all felt that feeling when you do something nice for somebody else, right? Doesn't it make you feel really good, right? When you you hold it, even just as small as holding the door open for somebody that's behind you, you know? Oh my God, the other day, I was coming out of, I don't know, Starbucks or somewhere, and I let the door close behind me, and it hit this person. I turned around and went, oh my God, I am so mortified, I'm so sorry. She's like, oh my God, don't worry about it. And I felt so bad, you know? But, you know, when you hold the door open for somebody, oh my God, you know? Or you tell somebody, like, you know, you really, from the heart compliment somebody's outfit or their hair or how they look that day. You just brighten them, right? That's compassion for others. That's compassion, right? And that makes you feel good. So, what would happen if you forced yourself to step out of that fear, whether it's talking to somebody new or whether it's that you would just, I don't know, you would create a scenario. What about if you paid for the person behind you's coffee in line? Just something compassionate, anything, a smile, right? Compassion, that gets down into the deep, dark recesses of who you really are, right? So I would say, if you really, really want to be happy, let's try and see if, let's put the Dalai Lama to the test, right? Put the Dalai Lama to the test. What happens if you do something? It doesn't have to be as grandiose as what I was just telling you about the guy who found the guy that lost his home and tried to help him. It doesn't have to be as grandiose as that. It can be that. If you feel led to do something big like that, then by all means do it. Always trust, and this goes to last week's show, trust your gut instinct, right? Trust your gut. This morning, I didn't trust my gut, and I felt guilty about it all day. There was something I could have done to help somebody, and it was really, really early in the morning. I am not lying when I say 6 o'clock in the morning. And I wasn't quite thinking right, and so I missed an opportunity to really help somebody, and it's been messing with my head all day because I feel guilty about it. That doesn't do anybody any good either, now does it? The guilt of not doing something, forget it. I gotta let that go. Jeez Louise. So at any rate, so my homework to you for next week is to, I shouldn't say for next week, but for this coming week, do something for somebody else. If you feel that need to feel happiness in your life, if you want to feel just a little bit happier, or if you're sad, get up off your butt, go somewhere where you can do something nice for somebody, right? Do it. So at any rate, that is my homework for you guys. So thank you for listening to that. I appreciate it. I love the Dalai Lama. I love the Dalai Lama. I love his teachings. Tibetan Buddhism is just absolutely beautiful. I am, like I had mentioned before, I am starting to study Kriya Yoga, which is meditation, and I'm super excited to get involved in it, right? Oh my gosh. And it is not for the faint of heart. I mean, this meditation is big deal. They meditate a long time every day or whatever, so I will share my journey with you as it moves along, right? So I'm excited about it. So I will, like I said, I will share the journey with you as it moves along. So, all right. Now, I wanted to talk about I have a couple silly spirit stories for you, but I wanted to tell you, if you have a question, I've been getting lately interesting questions about how I do what I do, okay? How is it that I just know stuff about a spirit? How is it that that this works for me? Every medium works differently, but so I've been getting these questions, and I thought to myself, you know what? If you guys have a question and you'd like to call me with a question on how I work, instead of asking for a reading, you can do that as well. You can always ask me a question as to how this works. When I get after the show's over, I know you guys like to message me or text on the bottom of the Facebook page, and that's great. Bring it on. I will answer questions as I can on there. And so I just want to tell you, don't be scared to call because I get almost every week I get people saying, oh, I'm just a little too shy to call, but make up a name. So what? I won't out you. It's fine. So if you're nervous to call, so at any rate, I want to tell you that. Okay. So I want to tell you my silly spirit story for the week. Actually, this isn't really a silly. Oh, okay. I'll tell you the silly spirit story first, and then I will tell you the kind of cool spirit story after that. Okay. So months and months ago, I was, and I've probably told this story before, so I apologize in advance, but I was getting ready to do a reading. And before I do my readings, I meditate. And I do the reading and I meditate and I get myself into sort of a zone, I guess you could call it that, you know, get myself into a zone, and I try to connect with the loved ones of whoever I'm going to be reading. Okay, so I try to connect with them and I ask them to start coming in and I start making notes. So this older gentleman comes through to me, and he has got the silliest grin on his face, right? And he's like looking at me like that, like the biggest smile, and the toothy, like one of those smiles that takes up the entire face. And it almost looked like the Cheshire Cat. That's what it looked like, right? And he was sort of a grandpa-looking man. I don't remember if he was grandpa or who he was to this person that was coming over. But so he had this big smile, but that wasn't even it, because I've had people with big toothy smiles come through before. He had a frame, like a picture frame around his face, right? And so it's like he's holding the picture frame and the smile is like this, right? And he's like got this big toothy smile. It was very, I want to say sort of bizarre, but it was cool at the same time, right? Obviously, I needed to write it down, right? Because whatever they give me, no matter how odd or generic it is, like I need to write it down, right? So I write it down before the girl, I think she was a girl, gets here. So I'm sitting there talking to her, and I said, okay, so I need to tell you what happened. There's a man in a picture frame that came through. Now I forget exactly what she said, so I'm sort of paraphrasing here. However, there was a picture of this man in the frame, right? And he was highlighting the picture frame because it had to do with, I believe, it had to do with a specific picture that he wanted to talk about. So the picture frame was really, really relevant. It was really, really relevant to the reading, right? And I guess this man had a big toothy smile, and so that was that. And it was really pretty amazing because, you know, when they give me, I love when they give me that kind of information because it stands out. It's a detail that, and the picture frame, from what I remember, was green. And so it's interesting. I'm sorry, I have something in my eye, but it's good when they give me something dramatic like that, you know, because I can explain it. You know, it's like the pink dress. I mean, well, the pink dress might mean something to the person on the other side. So anyway, so I just thought that was great, and she starts laughing. This girl starts laughing when I was talking about the frame and all that stuff. It was just funny, right? So I thought that was funny. Spirits have personalities, and they come through. So there you go. Okay, so the other story I was going to tell you about this week is really interesting. Oh my gosh, this one is from years ago, and it stands out to me as one of probably the most informative and memorable readings I've ever done. Now, for whatever reason, I give readings, and I try to remember to tell people this when I give people readings, especially if they come back a second or third or fourth time, which I have several clients that come back. You know, I only allow people to come back every 6 months because I don't want anybody to get too reliant on the messages, right? So I have clients that come back every 6 months. However, and I forget the other readings because I try really hard to zone into the person I'm reading and give up the reading to Spirit. That's what I do before readings. I give up the entire reading to Spirit. And so Spirit then, I believe, and it might not be exactly this way, and it probably doesn't happen this way for every other medium out there, so, you know, everybody has their own way of doing things. I feel like that I get the messages, they come in, and then they come out my mouth. And so I, a lot of times, do not remember stuff, you know, even from close friends. I don't remember the readings. So, that being said, this one I remember to a T. And that tells me something right there. It was an amazing reading. It was so fascinating. Okay, so here's the story. So this girl, and I didn't find out later, she loses her father. Okay, her father crosses over. I didn't know until later, but we had a reading, and it was kind of an emergency to her, and so she came in like 2 days after he had crossed. Now, a lot of times, that's kind of a red flag. We don't want to do that because they're still trying to get things figured out over there, I think, right? But it all depends on the spirit. If the spirit crosses over and instantly wants to come back and do a reading, then that's what it is. And if they don't, they don't. It's fine. So, we get to talking, and I am like totally relaxed in my thing, and it's a phone reading, so I get to sit wherever I want and, you know, however I want in my jammies if I choose, right? Which is great. So I'm on the phone with her, and I see this man. He comes through. We validate really, really well that it's her father. And he starts in on this reading, and he starts talking about the fact that of everything he's seeing on the other side. And at one point, I had a visual of this girl who I had never met sitting next to me. And we're sitting there looking up at him as though he's teaching a class on the afterlife, right? So he starts telling us about the afterlife and what it's like on the other side. And I'm still sitting there looking like in awe because this man is being incredibly prolific, is that the right word? But just descriptive, that's the right word. Really, really, really descriptive about what he's talking about. It was really incredibly fascinating. And what he says is, and I'll give you some of the highlights. First of all, he was a professor in life. So it made complete sense, right? So of course, and he was very, he was really smart, and he was really into learning. His mind was incredibly open to anything, right? So he was really excited, and he couldn't wait to tell me and his daughter all these details about what it's like on the other side, which I thought was just cool. So this is what he said. He said a couple of things that just really stuck out, is that the feeling on the other side, as soon as you cross over, there's this feeling of, we know what we think love is here. We know what we think unconditional love is here on earth. But what he said is that this feeling of love on the other side is so far beyond what we as humans can comprehend that is, he's like, you can't even comprehend, there are no words to express the feeling that I feel right now, right? And it's love, it's joy, it's peace, it's contentment, it's every positive energy thing, it's happiness, everything that you can imagine, right? Every positive word, and that's what I'm feeling. But multiply that times 1,000,000, and that's what I'm feeling. So it's like ecstasy, right? I mean, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my God, you know? And of course, I'm like in awe of this man explaining all this stuff, and I have to then relay it to the girl because she can't speak to him because I'm the medium. So here I am going, holy crap, you know? And I'm just like in awe of this man telling me all this stuff, and I'm having to tell this girl, you're not gonna believe what he said now, you know? And so then he starts going about this different stuff, and it was just so fascinating. Oh my God, it was so incredibly fascinating. So at any rate, that was one of my most memorable readings ever. And yeah, I'll tell you, being on the other side is, I can't wait to experience it. I can wait because there's so much going on right now in my life, and I love it. I love watching my daughter. I love watching my husband do what they're doing, my families, my friends, and all of you who connect with me. I love seeing what everybody's doing, but I can't wait to see what's going on the other side. So at any rate, that is my favorite silly spirit story. Although it's not really silly now, is it? It's kind of exciting. So at any rate, that's the story. So okay, so I want to give you guys the quote for the week, and of course it's a Dalai Lama quote, of course, sticking with the theme of the Dalai Lama. and love and compassion. And our quote for the week is a Dalai Lama quote, and this is what he says: our prime purpose in this life is to help others. And if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. And at first I thought, oh, that's just so weird. It's kind of an odd way to say that. But if you take it and you really think that through, it's true, because there's people out there, if you're walking past somebody and there's nothing you can do for them, at least don't hurt them, don't trip them if you're walking past them, or don't, give them a scowl, give everybody a smile kind of thing. And at first, like when I first heard that, I thought, really? But then when you really think about what he's saying there, if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them, but help others. And that's my goal. That's my goal with the show. That's my goal in life. I want to just help other people. So yeah, so that's beautiful. So thank you so much for joining me for the show tonight. Thank you to Tina for calling in. I always appreciate your grandfather's energy and your energy. You're beautiful. You have a beautiful family. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your support. Please go to my website and sign up for my newsletter, which I am not incredibly great at sending out. And I was trying to do them once a month, and I blew it there for a little bit. But, sign up, and I'm trying to get better at it. So until next time, I hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day, has a great week, and Shanti, everybody. Stay happy.
Thank you for watching Spiritually Speaking with Lori Albert.